How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about BBIG. It did end up having a green day inside of the market, but on the previous day, we saw a lot of weakness inside of the market, and it was one of the stocks that was impacted and had a big time pullback. So of course, in this video, I'm going to talk about what we want to look forward to going into Friday and as well as for next week. So let's not waste any more time and let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in a bearish case scenario and as well as in a bullish case scenario. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information. The reason why this is important because the short interest does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know what was the buying and as well as the selling behavior like on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for BBIG. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $2.84, being up 6.77%. On the low, it tested $2.56, and then on the high, testing $2.90. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, we traded at 14.205 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days being at 17.487 million shares. So not too far off from the average volume, but one thing that is clear, we did see some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, we can see from the RSI down below, it is well beaten up in that oversold territory, being at 29.42. Now, when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we're below the 50-day, the 100-day, the 200-day, and the 21-day EMA. So this tells us right away, since it's been on a downtrend, we are in a bearish cycle for BBIG. So what it needs to do is find some support. So on the low of the day, we ended up testing $2.56, and this was also an area of support back here on the 23rd of August. So you're going to want to actually see this level hold or have some consolidation building up in this particular range. As far as for the high of the day, it was at $2.90. So what this tells us right away, that this $3 area becomes a psychological area for BBIG. So if we end up having some momentum and there's some buying pressure and we get above 3, then the next move that you want to look for is seeing how well we can get past 326, and then of course coming in to fill that gap right here around 377. So that's a bullish case scenario. Now, as far as for the bearish case scenario, if it wants to pull back even more, then we can see this stock get to around the 250 level right on the dot, and then going back even further, a support here right at 242. That's where I would say where the floor would actually be. Of course, I could be wrong on this, but for the most part, I would love to see us hold up this 256 level, consolidate, make that move above 3 so we can get that gap fill done. So we're going to take a look at the short interest information for BBIG. So for the dark pool short volume ratio, it is at 35.98%, and then for the dark pool short volume, it is just over 2.67 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 350,000, updated 18 minutes ago, and then for the short ball fee rate, it is at 25.18%. Now, when we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we could see for the close of November the 30th, it was at 36.25, and then for the close of December the 1st, which was yesterday, being at 35.98. So what this tells us right away, BBIG does have short squeeze potential, but there's also a lot of negative market sentiment around the stock. There's a lot of short sellers that are inside of this play. So if you're going to be trading this play, just make sure that you have a strategy in regards to your entry and as well as your exit. Never go into this play without a game plan. So now let's jump into the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for BBIG. So we can see on the inflow is at at 7,353, and then on the outflow is at 6,679. So we ended up having an inflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large we had 1,821, on the medium we had 3,924, and then on the small we had 1,608. When we take a look at the outflow side on the large, it was 1,602. On the medium, it was 3,523. And then on the small, it was 1,555. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you could see for today, December the 2nd, it being that inflow of 218.56. So it was great to see that we had buying winning out on the day. Now, when we analyze the numbers even further for the small scale orders, which represents the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. When we take a look at what was going down on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And then of course, when we take a look at the large, we had more buying than we had selling. But do know we did have some selling pressure, but overall buying went out. When we take a look now at the turnover ratio, it is right around 14.64%. So this is no surprise. We know there's a lot of traders that are going in and out of this play, and also due to the fact of the market conditions and how it's been, many people are just selling their positions, and also people who are taking profits, who are trading off of the price action. So this is why this play is extremely volatile, and we cover it on this channel to make sure if you are going to be jumping in, you're jumping in at the right direction of where the stock is actually going, and you're also maximizing your entries. So now let's jump into the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for BBIG, if you're going to be jumping into this play, you want to have a strategy. On the day, we ended up testing around $2.56, and we had some resistance at $2.90. So I know you can agree with me that the psychological area is right at $3. That's where we can witness a lot of selling pressure. But I feel if the markets are strong and we have a lot of money flowing into small and as well as medium cap stocks, then BBIG should be able to get above 3, and we want to look for that gap fill around $3.77. As far as for the bearish case scenario, if 250 does not hold, then it could easily get into the 240 range. But overall, in general, as far as for the technical setup, it is deep inside of that oversold territory. So I'm like, hey, you know what? We need to gain some momentum and start seeing some price action to the upside. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it still continues to have short squeeze potentials. This is why you want to keep it on your watch list, because the moment we have more buying pressure coming into the play, or if we end up having a catalyst, this is where this stock can move very well. And this is where you want to analyze, do your homework, do your due diligence to make sure that you're maximizing your overall entries. In some previous videos back, I was saying you could do a quick swing trade strategy. Many people took advantage of that. They got in when it got to $3 and then they rode it all the way up to $3.34. Of course, if you're an investor, this is not of much value to you, but for traders that are out there that are taking large positions, hey, they were able to benefit from this. They were sending me messages and so on. But if you decided, well, you know what, I'm going to hold, I'm going to buy it at 3, then as far as the volatility is concerned, you've accepted that, you know what, I can handle this, and if it does decide to pull back, then I may consider adding more. So this is why you want to make sure you have high conviction and a clear strategy before jumping into any play. So let's see how BBIG performs going into tomorrow. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and we'll be talking real soon.